Alright guys, what's up? In this posting I'm going to talk about black culture, or African American culture in particular. At first I want to give a definition of what I feel culture is. Culture is like a blueprint. It's a set of beliefs and practices that a culture or that a society or a group of people follow in order to achieve success and to maintain successful. Um, but the problem, and in all cultures, they don't account for negativity, meaning that negative things do happen, but they don't infuse it into their culture. Now, the problem I have with African American culture is that we seem to have infused a lot of negative things into our culture, and that's part of the reason that we have such a hard time making forward progress as a community as a whole. Now, there are certain groups in certain parts of the country and in certain places that are doing well, but just as a whole movement, African American movement, it seems like we're not making a lot of forward progress. Well, I know we're not making forward progress, and I believe it has to do with stuff in our culture. Some of the small things and that we kind of take for granted and we kind of make fun of. The whole story is, oh yeah, I have an uncle, who's an ex-con, or yeah, I have an uncle, who sells drugs, and we acknowledge that they're negative, but we take this tone as if it's just okay and it's all right. If you go to an Asian household, they, of course, not all Asians are smart and ambitious. So you might have some that maybe get on the wrong side of the law, but those type of people are disciplined, and if they don't shape up, they're kicked out of the family. They don't put up with that. They don't have my uncle or my aunt who can't stay away from drugs or can't put the bottle down. They don't account for that. They don't say that's okay. They acknowledge that it's wrong, and because it's wrong, it has no place. It's the zero tolerance. But our problem is we have a high tolerance for bullshit. So it's passed on. It's passed on. A lot of stuff, like I don't blame women or men for having kids unplanned. Stuff happens. But it's the attitude and mentality. Now, I see young girls doing it because that's the thing to do. Seriously, it's not even an accident anymore. I mean, it's an oxymoron, but a lot of chicks are having planned, unplanned families, if you know what I mean. They're doing this because the culture says it's okay. It's just alright. The reason why you don't have Asian women doing that, it's not because maybe, they're not having sex or this, that, or white women or Mexican. It's because their culture doesn't allow for it. It's not okay to be a single mother or a father who doesn't take care of his kids or a man who's not working and not being proactive. It's just not okay. But in African American culture, it's okay. Everything is okay. And at the end of the day, we're trying to move on. We're trying, but like I said, your culture is your blueprint. It's your foundation. You can't build a mansion on a shaky foundation. So we're trying to build, and all our efforts keep collapsing. And you know what? People are getting tired. People are giving up. People are just giving in. Because and I have to admit, sometimes it can seem a little bit overwhelming because as a whole you want everybody to do well, or the majority to do well. But how can we on this shaky foundation? From what I know of success and the little that I've had in my life, I understood that you can't allow for bullshit. Anybody who's ever been good at anything in life, I don't care what, whether it's a sport, singing, school, I don't care what it is. If you were good at it, you know that you didn't get that way because of the bullshit. If you're an athlete, you got where you got because you got up every day at 6, you went to the gym, you went to the track, you went to the weight room. If you're killing in school, you studied 7 days a week, no give and take. You went to the library, you put in the man hours. Nobody got where they got based on some bullshit. or putting up half-ass efforts, or accepting, you know, below par work. So I think, and it's a personal level. We all have our own personal families, and we have to ask ourselves, what kind of bullshit is going on in our families? Are we just sitting by and letting our brothers act a fool, or our daughters, our sisters, our nieces and nephews do whatever they want to do? Oh, it's okay. You know how we do. That's just how we get down, and that's where we are. Where we are. Now, I'm not saying if you have people in your family, disown them or kick them out. But all I'm trying to say is we have to start to turn up the heat. I know even in my own family, we have some characters who are not doing what they need to do. And we do make an effort to deal with them. But it has to come a point in time where it's like, if you want to be part of this family, if you want to be part of this culture, you have to shape up and step up. Because the sad thing is, we have family members that act up and do whatever, go to jail, this and that. And you know what? We give them help. We bail them out. That's one thing about the African American community that nobody can take away. We do help each other out, but the fact of the matter is, we don't try to correct the bad behavior that exists in our own families. We just let it slide because, once again, that's just how we get down. That's just how we do. And look where we are now. If you go back to the civil rights movement, think about how on point they had to be to get where they needed to get. Think about it. Think about how much structure and discipline they had to have. The police were beating them up for no reason, killing them. They couldn't give them, just imagine what they would do if they even gave them a reason. And they was fighting for something. And nowadays it just seems like, we're being lackadaisical. But that's just not going to work. We try to compare ourselves too much to the white culture. White culture is fucking flawed. And the white culture in particular that we focus on are the materialistic, money hungry. So they're not ruled by religion. They're ruled by money and power and sex. So it's not even about comparing ourselves to whites. I take a look at the other minority groups who are doing successful. I'm from Southern California, so I see it all. Asian, Hispanic, Armenian, Iranian, I don't care where you're from. I've dealt with you. You're probably in one of my classes, and I know I've probably been to one of your stores. And I always made sure I was observant and understood what they did and how they did it, and what they stood for and what they didn't stand for. Because you can't stand for good and positive shit, and at the same time stand for bullshit. It doesn't make any sense. You're not standing at all. You're falling down, and that's where we are now. So, I'm not gonna lie. We have a whole boatload of problems, but our foundation is shaky, so we can't even get off the ground because we're accounting for too much bullshit. So here's some advice. Clean up your families. I don't care if it's on your side of the family, your wife's side of the family. Do what you got to do. Because the younger generation, my generation, and I'm in my early 20s, we do a lot of the shit that we do, a lot of the fucking bullshit that we do is because our culture says it's okay. An 18-year-old girl could have a kid, and it's okay. Say what you want to say, but the shit is okay. So, like I said, holler at me. Tell me how you feel, but it's just, I don't know, it's just getting a little bit too crazy, man. Our culture is accepting too much bullshit. And we don't live in a vacuum. The rest of America that's not white, see what we're doing. See what we're doing, and they're like, what the hell are these people doing? And they're complaining. They do this to each other, yet they're still complaining. So, I think we have to prove shit to ourselves before we can start to demand shit from other people, and then we can rise up. So let me know if you disagree or, you agree with me, and share your thoughts. Thanks.